And a lot of people are talking about the Eagles that way. And the question that we have, because it wouldn't be Eagles talk without some drama in it, even if they're winning, is how concerned should we be with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts relationship? And I want to play, I believe I have the clip that ignited this conversation, not the one of A.J. Brown, but the one of Eagles faithful.
Complaining need to be accountable. And I'm just being honest. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Like, and he know this. I don't know the whole story, but I know that one is trying. And I mean, 11 could be a little better with how he respond to things. And they was friends before this. It's like, man, but things have changed. And I understand that because life happens. But it's the business side that we have to make sure that we don't let the personal get in the way of the business, and that's what we got to do better as right now, because we know it's an issue. Everybody's seeing some things, but we need to be able to talk things out as men. You know what I'm saying? But we need to let personal stuff go and let's get right for this game, because man, it's like a lot of stuff. Most of the time, it's just a conversation that just need to be had.
All right, Zach, you up?
Yeah, well, when I watched that clip, the first thing that came to mind is, wow, this is just a huge distraction. And this is going to be a massive, massive talking point from now until the Eagles really end their season or ultimately get their passing game figured out, because this team has been red hot. There hasn't really been many teams in the NFL playing better football than the Philadelphia Eagles. And that, although that was the case, you could tell that, especially on Sunday, something was a little bit off with their passing game. A.J. Brown was held silent. He didn't even have a target until the very end of the first half, I believe, which is not something you really see every day. And we know that the number one reason for this team's success so far this season has been the addition of Saquon Barkley. He's right there with Josh Allen when it comes to the MVP conversation. And I do wonder if there's a little bit of jealousy when it comes to that. We know that A.J. Brown is really not someone that's afraid to let it known how he's really feeling. But I also think back to that clip we actually played at halftime of Fred talking about Nick Sirianni and how a couple years ago, this guy was getting all the credit because his players were executing and he got them to the Super Bowl. But then really last year, and then for some of this year, he's been getting a lot of heat because those players were not executing. And I'll always see where he's coming from with that point. But my question is, when it comes to the Eagles and how they could avoid this being an issue that affects the remainder of their season, because right now they're a team with realistic Super Bowl expectations. Is Nick Sirianni going to be able to figure this out? Is he going to be the guy that is able to rally this locker room and get past these differences between their star quarterback and their star wide receiver, which is bizarre because Graham said it in the clip 2 years ago. It felt like A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts had unreal chemistry. They were best friends. Jalen Hurts was a big reason why A.J. Brown got traded to Philadelphia in the first place. These two guys wanted to play together. And really for a lot of this season, that passing game they haven't been on the same page. And although it's been noticeable, you thought it would be something they'd be able to figure out. But after listening to Brandon Graham, I'm not 100% sure if that could be something they figure out. And another thing that stands out is this. I've been a big supporter of the Kellen Moore hire. It's clear that this Eagles offense in general has been a lot better under his watch this year compared to last year with Brian Johnson. But you guys know that the Eagles are the only team in the NFL that have not scored a touchdown on their opening drive this season. Yep. This team gets off to slow starts each and every week, and they've been winning in spite of that, to their credit. But I don't think that's something that's necessarily sustainable. You have to be able to figure out how to start games better. And I don't really know if they're going to be able to get over that when it looks like there's some major beef between their star quarterback and their star wide receiver, which is a huge problem. And Brandon Graham, he apologized for these comments after the interview. He knows what he messed up. Even if everything he said was true, I just think this is going to be something that is a massive distraction for the remainder of the season. And I don't know if Nick Sirianni is the right guy to figure it out. You saw Xavier Legette, he dropped that pass. If he catches that ball that was right in the breadbasket, a perfect pass from Bryce Young, the Panthers win that game. And by the way, the Eagles play the Steelers this week. We saw what Russell Wilson just did to the Browns. That's not an easy game. So I think all of a sudden, there's a huge, huge lens on this Eagles team in that game. And I don't want to call it a must-win game, but if they do lose to the Steelers on Sunday, these problems are only going to get worse.
Say you up, man.
Just to answer Zach real quick, they are going to lose to the Steelers this week. We don't have to think about that's going to happen. That's already going to happen. But we should have been concerned over in the offseason about Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. They were trying to sell the media that in the public that they're friends, they're great friends, they hang out. He's the reason why they came to the Eagles and all this other blah blah blah. We already knew because what needs to be if it's the truth, it doesn't need to be said. They're over here trying to sell something. They're trying to sell us their friendship and relationship X, Y, Z. And A.J. Brown since when he left Tennessee has always been about A.J. Brown. I want my touches. I want my targets. I want to get the ball. I want to score touchdowns. The Philadelphia Eagles, even since Kellen Moore has been there, has been a run-centric, Jalen Hurts-centric football team. Even Saquon Barkley being there, his record-breaking numbers, we still see Jalen Hurts trying to run the ball himself, not give the ball to the players, the playmakers. It's been the Jalen Hurts show for a very long time, which is hurting A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is very vocal. He wants the ball. The passing needs to be better. He's been very vocal. Is he wrong? No. Does he need to say it? Also, no. He shouldn't be the one talking about that to the media because it alienates his teammates. It puts the teammates in a difficult position to try to, like Lil said, apologize for his remarks and try to sweep that under the rug so it doesn't hurt the locker room. The season is still in full swing. They still want to win a Super Bowl. And in order for that to happen, sacrifice needs to be had. Now, is that on sacrifice on Jalen Hurts' side? Is it sacrifice on A.J. Brown's side? I don't know. But everything he said is 100% true. But at the same time, he cannot say that to the media because they're only going to impact the locker room. It's only going to hurt guys within. This is looking like a very similar situation to years ago between Donovan McNabb and Terrell Owens. When two guys' egos are impacting the locker room and essentially destroying what could be a successful year and securing a Super Bowl. Because right now in the NFC, the Eagles have a very, very great shot of being the team to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. But if this goes out of if this becomes a wildfire and essentially lights everything up around the entire locker room, the team is divided going into the playoffs. How highly are you considering this team to win? We don't know. You can't, because at that point it's divide and conquer, and that's what all the opponent is going to do: divide and conquer, pick them apart one by one by one. So this is very concerning because this team needs to be together for the remainder of the season going into the playoffs. We already know they're a playoff team. They have to be together for the remainder because talent alone is not going to be able to beat these teams in the playoffs. They need to be together, one team, one sound. So that's my take on that.
Yeah, I think we should be very concerned because we've seen this movie before. And look, we can't sugarcoat what happened on Sunday. I mean, Jalen Hurts completed just 14 of 21 passes for 108 yards, and it was against a defense that is ranked 25 or 25th against the pass. And look, he's been a little bit inconsistent, but the reality is he has won 70% of his games in the NFL. That's the reality. He wins. This year he hasn't turned the ball over a lot. They win, right? But clearly you have a guy and an individual in A.J. Brown that does not care about winning. He doesn't care that his teammate Saquon Barkley is having one of the best seasons for a running back, and they're riding him as the focal point of the offense to wins. He doesn't care about it. And I said this before on the air. I think it went over people's heads. So I'm going to say it again. Wide receivers in the NFL are like women in relationships. You can never do enough for them, okay, without them wanting more from you. All right, just like how, and I'm speaking from experience, folks, okay, just like how women are loyal to their feelings and emotions, wide receivers are loyal to their stat line. It's just the reality of the situation. They don't care about the partnership. They care about the stat line, okay? And A.J. Brown, even though they were boys, he's not loyal to Jalen Hurts, even though they were boys. Just like how Stephon Diggs wasn't loyal to his boy in Josh Allen, okay? They were boys. They was holding hands after the game, post-game. But guess what? He wasn't loyal to Josh Allen. He was loyal to his stat line. And look, Stephon Diggs eventually, he wanted out. And he got traded. And what happened with Buffalo? Josh Allen is an MVP right now. Probably won the award already. And that was because James Cook was cooking, and they ran him as a focal point to wins, to get in the playoffs, and I have a chance against Kansas City. So he wanted the ball. He didn't care about the wins. A.J. Brown, he doesn't care about the wins. He doesn't care that Saquon Barkley is the vocal point of the team. And that's the reality of the situation. So I think as an alternative, if they lose and they do not win a championship and this situation is not rectified, then maybe the Eagles should send him where he always wanted to be, which is a Patriot. Because clearly the Patriots are willing to go above and beyond. You saw what they say about Higgins. We want to offer you the moon. Well, clearly, I believe A.J. Brown would like that. He would get all the targets he wants. Because guess what? He doesn't care about winning. He'll watch the Eagles play in January while he's sitting on the couch with New England in January. If that means he got 100 targets, 10 to 15 a game. So, yeah, I think we should be concerned because they are winning games, and yet there's drama. What's going to happen when they start losing games? Captain Obvious, Lil Shadamas on the mic.
And is Nick Sirianni the one that's going to fix things? Like, do you trust him as the leader of this?
I mean, he had beef with Jalen Hurts last year.
Exactly. Like, I don't trust him as a guy that, like, because think about it. He's not the one calling plays. We've spoken about this a lot on the show. He literally hired his coordinators to do that. So
yeah, he said, listen, I'm getting back. Y'all figured it out. I make the highest. Y'all do what it do. Vic Fangio, you do you, bro. You focus on defense. Kellen Moore, you do you, bro. I'm sitting this one out. So now he got to step in now as a head coach.
So his job is to make sure that these exact things don't happen. He has to make sure that he has a grasp on the locker room. That's the thing about these CEO head coaches. You could say what you want about Mike Tomlin, but there's no doubt that he has firm control of that locker room and that whatever he says, everyone in that locker room will listen to him. We don't feel the same way about Nick Sirianni, and that's a major, major problem for this Philadelphia Eagles team. And it's just unfortunate because they've been playing so well. And the addition of Saquon Barkley has been a move that has really put them over the top and has made them a legitimate Super Bowl contender once again. And we should be talking about this week's game against the Steelers as, wow, the Eagles just beat the Ravens a few weeks ago, a statement win on the road. Now they're playing another AFC North team in their building, the rivalry game in Pennsylvania, a game that has massive stakes between two in-state rivals. But now all the focus is going to be on A.J. Brown and his feelings. And until he gets his first catch on Sunday, all of the attention in that building will be towards him. We know the building is going to be tight, and this is just a massive, massive distraction that this team did not need right now, even if everything Brandon Graham said was true.
The issue is firing Nick Sirianni after the season or whatever. Is that the answer? Is Nick Sirianni the one that changes that? Because does that change Jalen Hurts' performance? Does that make him a thrower for the remainder of the season into the playoffs? Does that make him a better pass? Like, what changes with Nick Sirianni being gone? Because Jalen Hurts' play style doesn't suit A.J. Brown getting more targets, getting more receptions, and things of that nature. It doesn't work like that. And A.J. Brown's only going to get more frustrated with the way the play is happening unless they win a Super Bowl. And do you win a Super Bowl if you don't get A.J. Brown targets? That's another question.
At this point, he might pull an AB in the Super Bowl at this point with that national audience. I mean, that'd be terrible. I mean, look, I feel sorry for Devonta Smith here because clearly this is a one-first team. Jalen Hurts is mobile in himself. I mean, Devonta Smith should be, I won't say should be frustrated. He's not because they're winning games. So I don't know why A.J. Brown is not joining the party here. But then again, this is how wide receivers are in the NFL. Look at Debo. Samuel tweeting, clearly they got a lot of issues going on over there. So this is just the nature of the position that we know as wide receivers.
Please like and subscribe for all the up-to-date content. You've been slinging shows left and right, slinging content left and right. Please don't miss anything. If you do, like, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a question, something you may want to answer, something you may have. All ideas are great ideas. Nothing's a dumb question.